Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's What's Up Wednesday, where we are going live with you on Facebook and LinkedIn every Wednesday throughout the summer, leading up to our 23rd annual International Human Trafficking and Social Justice Conference, hosted virtually this year on September 23rd through the 25th. My name is Anna Schramm, and I am the organizer of this amazing conference. And we have a very special guest joining us today, my boss and the amazing leader who started this conference decades ago, Dr. Celia Williamson. So, hey, Celia, we are so excited that you're joining us today.
Yay, I'm so happy to be here.
Yes. So today we are focusing on our programming presentations at this year's conference. So over the last several weeks, we have talked about the various topics and sessions that you can attend at the conference. We have a variety of professionals talking about different topics at the conference. So today we are focusing on our programming presentations and different programming that is being done in the anti-trafficking and social justice fields. But before we get into that, Celia, can you start us off by just introducing yourself, telling people a little bit more about yourself for anyone who might not know you?
Yeah, Celia Williamson, and I'm a social worker. And I've been in the social work field for over 35 years and about in the trafficking space, maybe 25, 26 years or so. Yeah.
Awesome. And so you started the conference, but we are going to be talking about programming today. I'm going to talk about the conference just in a little bit, but can you talk about the importance of effective programming and what even effective programming looks like? Anybody can go out,
Yeah.
start a program, be a part of a program, put a name on something, but what is effective programming and why is it important that it is effective or evidence-based, all of these terms that we throw around?
Yeah, I think, a lot of people think that they can go out and with a great heart and be kind and very helpful and supportive. And there is a place for that. But having the actual skills to be effective, to move somebody from being a victim to a survivor to a thriver, actually takes good, solid, effective programming. And, we would never go to our doctor and say, hey, my knee hurts. And the doctor's like, well, I'm very kind and I'm very helpful. So let me think about it's, you would not pay for that, right? So you would want that person to have the best knowledge possible. And so it's not that you can't access this knowledge, you certainly can. And you can come to the conference and you can learn how to do great programming, not just programming that you make up. And that's so important because the first line of defense is do no harm. And if you come without the education or the knowledge and the skills and you just have the passion to do it, you could be selling somebody a bag of goods unintentionally. And when it doesn't help them, then they actually may believe that they're beyond help and they're not. So, good programming, I think, is really the cornerstone. So you bring the commitment, the passion, and we're going to share, the effective programming and the skills and the knowledge with you so you can be well equipped to, live out your passion and help people change their lives.
And what does it mean if a program is evidence-based?
Mhm. It means that that program actually has gone through rigorous testing, through scientific inquiry, and they've done studies, a randomized control study where they have a control group and they have the intervention, and then they're studying what happens in the end, and they're hoping to see that those people that were in the intervention group actually got better. And so when you're looking at an evidence-based program, this is what it means. It doesn't mean that somebody said, hey, this is a great program and they put it out there. I mean, they had to jump through many scientific hoops to say, this is best practice. This is the way you should be doing. And you can adopt those things into your practice, into your agency, and start doing those. And you can be at least relieved that you're doing something that has a better probability of being successful.
Yeah, I think effective programming, evidence-based programming is so important. And, talking about this conference, coming and being able to learn from others who have done that type of programming and can share lessons learned, what went well, what didn't. So then you can take all of that knowledge back to your community and implement those programs. So switching back to this conference, you started this conference many years ago. So talk about what was the purpose of you starting this conference 23 years ago and how you have seen it grow over the years.
Yeah, well, first of all, it was very tricky since I'm only 24, um, and some people know this story. I was just really sitting around thinking, man, I don't know as many things as I think I should know. But I'm doing things, and I know there's other people doing things across the country. And man, we need to get together. We need to share information. And what is that called? Oh, that's called a conference. So let's have one. And we didn't really have money. And when I say we, I mean me and some students. And I said, well, let's build a website and let's call it a national conference. Of course, now it's international, and see who comes. And people were really hungry to come and share information and learn from other people and collaborate and not be so isolated. And so now we have people that come to the conference year after year after year because we're not just giving you beginner information like a lot of conferences do. Our conference, you can come year after year because we have advanced topics for people who are well versed, as well as beginner topics for people who don't know much about human trafficking. So that has people coming back over and over and over again. And there are a variety of topics so that it's not just one political message. There's all kinds of messages. This is academic, meaning we have all kinds of topics and from all different points of view, as long as the people have done their research, done their work, and they're qualified to present. And so we really challenge you not to come and be comfortable, but to come and really learn different things that maybe you know nothing about, maybe you were uncomfortable about, maybe you were closed off to. So, that is what academia does. It's not this stuffy, university. It really is to advance society, move the knowledge base forward. And so that's what we do.
Yeah, and I love the diversity of our conference. I love that you can come year after year and still learn something new. So 23 years later and still going strong, still growing. You mentioned that it started national, it's turned to international. We have had attendees from 69 countries throughout our 23 years, including all 50 US states, and we're keep getting, new people who haven't heard about us, people who come year after year. So I love it. But you are actually presenting at this year's conference on the programming topic. So your session is titled, If Treatment Works, Why Do Survivors Still Feel Broken? And I know you're going to be talking about a lot of great information in that session, but can you give our listeners just a little preview of what you're going to be talking about?
Yeah, we do a lot in the social work field. I'm a social worker, so we will help people get housing and get them to lawyers and get them to physicians and get them to the mental health system even, and all of these things, these activities. And we build good relationship and we try to build trust and we try to be authentic and all the things. But what I found over 30 years is that survivors will walk away still feeling like something is broken. And what we found is that it's this unhealed trauma that people are not attending to and not recognizing. And so that's another way to trigger and traumatize somebody is to ignore the trauma that is debilitating to them. This is a deep psychological injury that a lot of the systems are pretending isn't there. And so it can be crazy making for somebody who has unhealed trauma without a name to it.
Mhm.
So we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about what are the things that should be happening, what are the best practices that should be happening, and giving some tools of what people can do, not only for human trafficking victims, but for anybody who has experienced interpersonal trauma, like sexual assault victims and domestic violence victims and child abuse victims. So it is a way to advance that skill base. It's not just about housing and lawyers and prosecution anymore. It's about getting that person to be healed and
Mhm.
to thrive and to be their optimal self.
Yeah, I think it's a great program. I think it's great what you are doing. And so if you want to hear more from Celia and the work that she's doing, make sure that you are registered for our conference. Our website is on the bottom of your screen. It's traffickingconference.com/register. So I do want to highlight a couple of the other programming related sessions that you could attend at our conference. Remember, you have over 110 breakout sessions to choose from.
Wow.
So this is just going to be a small sampling that I'm listing. There are so many topics, so many different things that you can choose from. It can be overwhelming, but remember, if you have registered, you have access to the recordings of the presentations for 3 weeks after the conference. So you can go back and learn and look at PowerPoints and look at the recordings to see what other people have presented and are bringing to the table. So some of the sessions that I want to mention are: first, we have Chris Ash and Sophie Otende, who will be presenting on collective care and meaningful engagement of people with lived experience, a cross-movement approach. Next, Aura Burdett and Jacqueline McLean will be talking about prevention through education, the Sex Buyers Accountability Program. Then Jediah Rose Daños, Giselle Sacklot, Fatima Lozano, and Jaden K. Empuerto will be presenting Restoration and Information, My Refuge House's Aftercare and Prevention Efforts in the Global Epicenter of Online Sexual Exploitation for Children. And next, we have Matthew Clark, who will be talking about preventing people from becoming traffickers through early character values development. And then we have Angus Thomas, who will be presenting From Rescue to Prevention, a survivor-led model for disrupting human trafficking at the source. So there will be several other programming-related sessions that you can choose from. So make sure we have our full schedule up on our website already. You can go, you can look at all of the sessions, read the description, read the objectives, read the bios of the presenters. So go to our website. You can look at all of the sessions that we have to offer. So Celia, before we wrap up today, is there anything else that you would like to share?
I mean, I'm just always amazed. 110 different presentations. Like, that's amazing. 69 countries. So when you come to this conference, and by the way, super inexpensive if you compare this conference and what you're getting to other conferences. But when you come to this conference, you are really in the epicenter. You are among all of your people, your tribe, the people that you want to hang out with, because they are very interested in healing and very interested in social justice. And you will find when you come to this conference that the world is very small in terms of people that you will meet virtually that have the same values that you have, and they may be thousands of miles apart from you. So that always amazes me, because we can get very egocentric in who we are in our little world, in our little country. But when we start to meet people that share those same values, that same work ethic, those same barriers and struggles, it really does expand your way of seeing things. And so that is not something we usually advertise. We're talking about 110 sessions, but the thing you don't see that you get is really an expanded knowledge of the world, and friends that you can make all over the world that share your values and share your struggles.
Yeah, I completely agree and echo those sentiments. I love the connections and stories that come out from conferences past, or, people who have met each other and continue on those
Mhm.
relationships and networking, and they collaborate on future projects. So I love that. But thank you, Celia, for joining me on today's What's Up Wednesday.
Yeah.
As mentioned, we go live on Facebook and LinkedIn every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time to talk about our upcoming conference. So we'll continue to highlight the different sessions that you can attend and the topics that you can learn about. Next week, we will have another special guest with us, Kirsten Burns, who is going to be talking about our healthcare related sessions. So if you want to learn anything about our conference, anything that we talked about today, how to register, look at the schedule, anything of, questions that you have, go to our website, traffickingconference.com. So we look forward to seeing you back here next week. Thank you for joining us today, and everybody have a great rest of their day. Bye.